Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3791 and today's date is December 8th, 2025, and the title of the episode is D's Want Taxes, Monopsony, Trump is returning the stolen wealth to the people. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit X22Gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's X22Gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech fake news, the puppet masters, you can see that they are now falling right into the trap that Trump has set for all of them. Think about it. He is now returning the power to the people. He's returning the economic power to the people. And what has happened? Trump now, he put the one big beautiful bill into place. That is positioned. People are going to be receiving their tax refunds. He told everyone there was no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. And he's daring the D's to basically place taxes on the people. Now, you have to remember, going all the way back to 1913, this is how they began everything. They went ahead and they implemented the central bank system. And once they implemented the central bank system, they said, hey, we're going to be taxing the very, very wealthy. The wealthy are going to be taxed. And everyone was okay with that. You know why? Because the wealthy have the money. We'll just tax the wealthy, and that will be great. And then what happened? The upper middle class, the lower middle class, everyone got taxed. If you look at what Trump is doing right now, he is now telling everyone that the lower middle class, the poor, even the middle class, they're not going to be taxed. There'll be no income tax for them. And he's making this very, very clear that we're not removing it from the rich. He's doing the actual opposite of what the central bank, the deep state players have done since 1913. So the D's, they're in a tough position. The central bank is in a very tough position because what do? Do they say, hey, we're going to keep these taxes? We're not going, we want you to be taxed. It doesn't make any sense because, again, their system only works with taking a portion of your wealth to fund their system, because remember, we're borrowing the currency from the central bank system. There's interest attached. Somebody has to repay it. That is the labor, the work from the people. Trump is doing something completely opposite. He's taking the wealth from other countries. You have to remember, the central bank took our wealth and sent it off to other countries. That was their model. Steal from the people of this country, send it everywhere else so they could push the socialist programs everywhere else. Trump now is actually reversing all this, and the wealth now is being returned to America. The difference is that we're not using the central bank for this, and we're not creating currency, which actually causes inflation. So what did J.B. Pritzker decide to do? Well, he's letting everyone know that, hey, we're going to keep those taxes, and those people that are working in restaurants, well, you're going to have to be taxed on those tips. A man of memes put this out and said, upsetting news. Illinois Democrats have announced they will tax tips and defy a federal law that eliminates taxes on tips. J.B. Pritzker and Illinois Democrats announced that they feel that the people of Illinois, restaurant workers, hotel staff, who make their living based on tips, well, it's not fair. And what they're going to do is they're going to tax every single person. How do you think this is going to work in Illinois? Because I think most of the people are going to say, well, wait a minute. Trump is getting rid of all the taxes and you want us to pay taxes. Does this make any sense whatsoever? Do you think the people are going to be on board with this, or is this going to destroy their party? Because Trump has put them in a very, very difficult position right now, if you really think about it. Because now you could see who's going to be siding with the central bank system and who's not going to be siding with the new system. Remember, the deep state, the central bankers, they rely on their system. It's a system that robs the people of their wealth. And Trump now is doing the absolutely opposite of what the central bank has done over many, many years. And you could see that with Trump deporting the illegals, all of a sudden, American workers are starting to feel that, wait a minute, I'm getting called for jobs right now. Things are looking better. You have to remember, as the central bank system continually creates currency, as we borrow the currency, and we have inflation, which is the devaluation of the currency, you need cheaper and cheaper labor to create your products, build your products, or you need cheaper labor in the country where you can't export those type of businesses. So farming and many other types of businesses, they need to stay here. And if they stay here, you need to bring in cheaper and cheaper labor as you continually borrow. Manufacturing, you can move out of the country and you can go to other countries where they're getting paid pennies on the dollar. This works out perfectly fine if you're within the central bank system. And as the central bank system breaks down, you need more and more of the illegals, those people that are going to get very low pay in this country. Now, if you're going to reverse everything, and you're going to use a new parallel economic system to actually compete with the central bank and actually fund everything in this government and then actually return the buying power back to the people, do you really need these people? No, you don't. You need the people for the old system. Do you need them for the new system? Absolutely not. And what's very interesting is that on TikTok, ICE of TikTok put this out and said, construction company owner says he is seeing a difference ever since ICE has been in Louisiana. No immigrants want to go to work. And it is so amazing. I've gotten more calls in the last week than I've gotten in the last 3 months. J.D. Vance responds to this and says, mass migration is theft of the American dream. It has always been this way. And every position paper, think tank piece, and econometric study suggesting otherwise is paid for by the people getting rich off of the old system. And what is the old system? The old system is the central bank system. And he's letting everyone know that now we are now moving out of the central bank system and giving the buying power back to the people. And what's very interesting, when you start to look at what the old system has done, it actually makes everything worse because government then gets involved. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers. Peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit X22Gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's X22Gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. And when government gets involved, this is when things really go downhill. When you look at Obamacare, when you look at the EV market, when you look at pretty much anything, hospital, real estate, you name it, anything that the government is involved with, where they're trying to take control and they're subsidizing, it actually makes the prices go up. Peter Sayong put this out and said, as soon as government helps pay for something, the price explodes. Heaven help the taxpayer if they make it free. Emergent Perspective says, by providing free service to everyone, the government becomes the largest buyer. Monopsony. Once you have that relationship or close to it set up, special interests will use it to jack up the price for everybody and force the bill into the public through taxes. So what is monopsony? Well, when one buyer dominates a market, similar to monopoly, when one seller dominates a market. Just as monopolistic can change higher prices because of lack of competition, a monopolist can offer lower wages. And this is exactly what we've seen in this country. And now Trump and team, what are they doing? They're reversing everything. And you could see every day that passes what happens. The manufacturers, the jobs, they're all coming back to America. And Trump now is setting up the foundation for what's really coming. And what's really coming? It's the removal removal of the central bank system. The central bank system will no longer exist the way we know it today. I do believe it's going to be restructured into the Treasury. And as we wean ourselves off of the central bank system, that means we're not going to be borrowing the currency from the central bank system because there's no need to. If you have currency coming in from the parallel system, which means the central bank will no longer be in charge of running the economy like, they say, and how they're independent. So as we wean ourselves off and we're slowly not using the central bank, what happens? The economy starts to change. And when people start to see the economy change, people see that the parallel system is actually working. And you can see every step of the way, Trump is bringing back everything the central bank pushed out of this country. Carolyn Levitt put this out and said, here's the article from St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Mill to resume making steel. And basically, a U.S. steel plant is planning to restart. They're firing up their blast furnace, and they're going to be hiring 400 workers. So when you hear all of these things and you see what Trump is doing and you see the jobs coming back, you see that he's going to be giving a dividend to we the people. You see that he's removing the taxes from the people and he's looking to pay off the debt. Basically, this is all being set up to remove the central bank system completely. And pretty much he's doing this via tariffs, via the gold card, energy sales, technology sales, and every step of the way, he's letting everyone know, and he's repeating it over and over and over, that in the not too distant future, we're going to be removing the income tax. And he's very, very clear in that he's not going to be removing it from the rich. He's going to start from the poor, move up to the lower middle class, up to the middle class, because he's doing the opposite of what the central bank is actually doing. And basically, if you go back in time, the private West Central Bank, what they did is they started with the rich and they got the people on board. Trump is starting with the poor, the lower middle class. He's getting them on board to do what? To go up against the private West Central Bank system. Trump, he put this out and said the following on Truth. While the United States has other methods of charging tariffs against foreign countries, many of whom who have for years taken advantage of our nation, the current method of tariffing before the United States Supreme Court is far more direct, less cumbersome, and much faster. All ingredients necessary for a strong and decisive national security result. Speed, power, and certainty are at all times important factors in getting the job done in a lasting and victorious manner. I have settled 8 wars in 10 months because of the rights clearly given to the President of the United States. If countries didn't think these rights existed, they would have said so loud and clear. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So basically, he's letting everyone know that it's very, very important that the Supreme Court rule in his favor. And I do believe they probably will, because, again, there is precedent going back in time. The tariff presidents have been using this for a very long time. And our founding fathers, if you go back in time, this is what they set up the country to do. They didn't set up a private West Central Bank. They didn't say, hey, by the way, we're going to be borrowing all our currency and we're going to be putting on debt. Actually, they didn't even want debt. And they didn't want a central bank creating the currency. They wanted we, the people, to create the currency. This is why they put it in the Constitution. So right now, you could see that Trump now, he is moving in this direction. And he confirms all of this, letting everyone know, yeah, what the central bank did when they first came into existence, I am now reversing all of this. Disclosed TV put this out and said, Trump agrees the revenue from tariffs should be used to pay down the national debt, but we're making so much money with tariffs that will also be able to make a nice dividend. Middle income and lower income people. We're not talking about dividends to the rich people. So let's think about this for a second. When the central bank first came into existence, they went directly to the rich people. Actually, if you listen to the D's right now, what do they say? We're going to tax the rich people. The rich people should pay for everything. And now Trump is using this against them, where he's saying, listen, we're not giving dividends to the rich people. We're giving dividends from the tariff system, not from the central bank system, not from the system that already existed. We're giving the poor, the lower middle class, the middle class, we're going to be giving them dividend checks from the new system. And I do believe he will then take this a step further. the step further is where he'll say, okay, the poor, lower middle class, we're going to be removing their income tax. And he'll probably say those people making under 50, those people making under 100, those people making under 150, he might do it incrementally like that and let people know that you will no longer pay income tax anymore. The upper class, the wealthy, they will take care of it for right now. Do I think this is going to continue like that as we move forward? No, I think as he builds the tariff system and he brings in more and more currency from around the world, because what is he actually doing with this? He's bringing the wealth back to this country. He's returning the buying power back to the people. So, for example, if someone was making $50,000 a year and they were paying, let's say, $7,000, $8,000 a year in taxes, they get to keep the $8,000. It's like all of a sudden you have $8,000 more. So you're not really making $50,000, you're making $58,000. Well, except for those people that are living in Illinois because they want to keep all your taxes. You think they're just going to keep the taxes for those individuals that are working in restaurants or receiving Social Security or overtime? No. Eventually what they're going to say is like, no, we don't care that Trump is removing everyone from income tax. We're going to keep the income tax. Actually, we're going to double it because what he's doing is not right. Now, what do you think people are going to do? You think they're going to stay in Illinois, or they're going to go to a state where there is no income tax? I think they're going to have a lot of people move out. I think you see a lot of corporations move out, because if the people move out, how are the corporations going to operate? So I think as we move forward, as people receive their buying power back, and that person making 50, now they're going to be making 58,000, they're going to have more money, and they get to keep this money, which means they're going to spend it in the economy. If they spend it in the economy, what happens? The economy grows. Manufacturing grows. Stores expand. Businesses expand. And if everything is expanding, can your wage then go up? Absolutely. Because if the company's feeling good and they're making money, well, they're going to share the wealth with their workers because the workers are making it happen. So I do believe that we're going to see all this take place as we approach 2026. We already know that Scott Bessent is already saying that those people that are working in the restaurant field or any type of service industry where they're getting tips, those people on Social Security, those people that work in overtime, they're going to see an additional $1,500 to $2,000 returned to them, maybe even a little bit more. So I think this is really going to grow the economic system. Now, as he does this, what's going to happen in the future is that people are going to see that, wait a minute, our buying power is coming back. The currency right now is still devaluing because we haven't paid it off yet, but I get my buying power back. So when Trump decides to pay back the Federal Reserve, people are going to notice that their buying power is coming back. Now, I do believe during this period of time, you're going to see gold, you're going to see silver, you're going to see Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You're going to start to see them make some moves. And I do believe Trump is going to wait for the right moment for gold to probably hit 7, 8, 9, 10,000, maybe even more than that before he says, you know something, maybe we should look at gold. Maybe we should revalue gold. You don't want to talk about gold too soon. Remember, timing is everything, because you want to wait until you have the leverage. Because if you're going to go up against the central bank system, you don't want to hit them early on. You want to make sure that you have the leverage. How do you have the leverage? You make sure that the tariff system, the gold guard system, the energy system, the technology system is completely and utterly up and running, and it's actually competing and on the same level as the private Western central bank system. And once you have that, then you have leverage over the central bank system. And as Trump weans everyone off of the central bank system, where he has the poor, the lower middle class, the middle class, where they're not paying taxes, they're not enslaved to the central bank system. And the government now is not borrowing the currency because we're using the currency that's coming in, which means you're not going to see any inflation whatsoever. So once you have that leverage, can you then say, let's look at the gold, let's revalue the gold, let's audit the gold? And I do believe that's what he's waiting for. Remember, timing is everything. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.